evening, treasure seekers. This is Blake coming to you live from New Mexico, and joining me as always from Washington State, it's Bryn and Cody. How's it going, guys?
Good. Happy to be here.
Cody,
It just feels like it's been a long time since we recorded an episode for some reason. Like it hasn't more than usual, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a busy week or something.
Yeah, usually busy week means it's comes faster.
Yeah. Who knows? Regardless, we're here now, and I'm happy to be doing it. Excited
Cody.
to get my weekly dose of treasure talk.
Cody, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite well.
All right.
I did a foot race this morning that I signed up for at the last minute. So I'm a little sore and tired, but it was fun.
Wow, very, very fitting for the episode.
Ooh. Yeah, a friend of mine invited me to it and I wasn't going to. And then we ended up doing a bike ride on the same path on Saturday. So then it was really nice out and I liked being out there. I was like, I think I'm going to run it tomorrow. So I signed up in the middle of the night and woke up in the morning and did it. And Bryn was an excellent support crew.
Yes. Good cheer squad.
Nice. Did you guys do any fun activities this weekend besides a foot race?
I'm trying to think of what we did yesterday.
Did you?
How about date night? How about you start reporting on date night? So I keep taking you on these excellent dates.
Oh yeah, we went to what
I'm
do they
glad
call
they're
it?
memorable.
A paint. Well, this was a Friday. It was Friday. It was 2 nights ago. It was a paint and date. So it's like one of those things where you just have to go and like they guide you through the painting. Oh, I should have had the paintings here to display. What a miss. What a miss. Anyways, it was
How far away are they?
I can get them in 30 seconds.
Yeah, when it's convenient during a transition or something, we'll go grab them.
Okay.
Right.
But it was like a Americana theme because 4th of July is coming up. And so the painting was not as as maybe intricate as we thought it was going to be, but it was still fun.
Now I'm picturing just some stick figures. And if you said Americana, it's just like stick figures of the people like holding the pitchfork, like American Gothic. Is that what that's called?
It was like overall the template was lack of like fine details.
Yeah.
I think because it's probably geared more towards novice painters.
Right.
So the painting is of an American flag.
Oh.
So it's like, big blocks of color. And then they teach you some stuff about different texture. I had a rough time with my stars because I did like these very abstract stars, and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I wanted to do like perfect stars, and then it just all started bleeding together, and I ended up trying to paint over it, and it kind of I liked my stripes though. My stripes were solid.
Now we know why JCB just did the doot or the X in the Starry Night picture.
Yeah. And that's exactly what the template showed. It was like, don't get detailed with the stars. It's supposed to be abstract.
I'm going to show them, Blake, and then you decide who you think is whose.
Yeah. You get the what's more likely slider out.
Painting number 1.
Oh, I see. So it's got like a little bit of a patina.
Very shabby chic. I told Cody that I was going to put a price tag on mine and see if it sells at Hobby Lobby. All right.
Okay.
Painting 1.
Yep.
Painting 2.
Okay. Well, I think painting 2 is yours, Bryn. And I think painting 1 is Cody's.
Which one's better?
I didn't say anything about them being better.
But one of them, I think Bryn's looks better on camera. Hers is more photogenic.
Okay. Because Cody, you said mine. Okay. Cody said he kind of messed up the stars and then like painted over it. So it looks like that one has painted over stars to me. That's why.
No, Bryn's is what you were supposed to do, and it looks better. Mine is like I see why you'd think that though, because it was supposed to be kind of like a wipe off
Yeah.
situation, make it look like faded.
Yes.
Mine is like ended up like bright blue.
Those are both very nice. I'm very impressed.
I
Thank you.
will say,
I don't think I've
like,
painted in since grade school.
Middle grade.
Yeah.
when we got home and like kind of looked at them with a fresh eye, we're like, these are better than we thought they were at the time. And then the next morning, we're like, I don't think we got enough credit for these at the class. They're
I
not
will
terrible.
say ours were better than the instructor. The instructor was excellent, but then got a little crazy at the end trying to add too much stuff and it started falling apart.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Too many layers of patina.
Okay. Got it. No, this turned out great. Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
Did you do an escape room of some sort as well?
Oh, so we did an escape room. This was actually last week, like an at-home board game escape room. But Cody and I both thought it was really good. And it was a different one because I don't know if we have any listeners that are a fan of the show Taskmaster. It's like a British comedy show. Um, so anyways, the show Taskmaster is like very fun and quirky. Anyways, they came out with an escape room within the last year. So we shipped it over from the UK and we did it, and I thought it was really well done. It was like an excellent difficulty level. We split it up over a few days and did like a few tasks every night, but yeah, just wanted to throw it out there as like a new different type of escape room. If anyone's familiar with the show, there's like a Taskmaster house, and so the box kind of turns into a little replica of the Taskmaster house, and it's just very fun. So highly recommend.
Yeah, it was a really good one. It was like Brent said, like the perfect level of difficulty and the perfect like little coyness and nuances to everything. Where like if we got stumped, if we just like sat and thought about it for a few minutes, it would click. And so we kept having these like roadblocks, but then getting through them without needing any hints, which in my mind is like just it's a hard needle to thread, but when you do it in a game, it's just perfect, where it's not too easy, but also not discouraging. It looks a lot like
You
that.
got it too?
No, I didn't. I didn't have it, but my friends here in town they got it because they're big Taskmaster fans, and we've done it, and we
Nice.
were gonna send it to you.
Oh, no way.
we erased all the answers and stuff, and
Yes. Yes, because it says it's actually one that you can reuse
right.
if you do it light enough. And so we were like, we should like undo everything so Blake can do it. That's funny.
Yes.
If we would have gone through the effort of like undoing everything and just swapped them with each other.
Yes. But
Did you guys do the scoring in the back of it?
Yes, we did.
Did you get a perfect score? We got a perfect score.
We did get a perfect score. So
Ooh, good job, team.
We were in agreement as well that we thought this was the best escape room in a box we've done, bar none.
Ooh,
so we thought
That's
it was
an endorsement.
Excellent. Highly recommend.
Yes,
Yeah, so we'll have to pick out our advent calendar soon so we can get the listeners involved when we do the December advent calendar escape room. So
I'm excited for that.
We'll start talking about that and see if there's a new one out yet, and then we'll recommend it to everybody so we can all do it together.
If you say that's the best in box escape room you've done, have you done the one that we've gifted you yet?
Not yet. That's right there.
Nice.
I was talking to friend Zach this week and kind of giving him consternation that it's like I should find time to do the escape room. I should find time to do. Zach is the author of Yar, There Be Treasure Inside. And I don't know. I feel bad not doing TTI stuff, but I'll find time hopefully later this summer.
It's fine. There's no rush.
Anyway,
we know it's very busy.
Many reviews happening, but yeah, I thought it would be fun to have Zach on for an interview once I've completed Yar, There Be Treasure Inside, so he can talk through the puzzle design and stuff like that. Particularly the word search is of interest. Mm-hmm. So, anyway,
very fun.
Good activities this week. quick news and notes. I had an interview on Matthew Hobby's channel, my YouTube crush. He invited me on for an interview, and we talked a lot about numbers and geometry and angles. Obviously, I'll put a link in there so you guys can check it out. Did you guys have a chance to watch it, Brandon, Cody?
I'm halfway through right now, so no spoilers.
Okay.
That's funny. I'm actually also about halfway through.
Okay, so
we did not watch it together. This is independently halfway through.
Don't have it on your TV at home.
Okay. Not at the moment.
Okay. Anyway, that was a good time. I thought Matthew Hobbies contributed a lot and really liked what he was saying. Hopefully people think the same of my contributions as well, but overall it was just fun to finally talk with him in person. It was funny because I had never actually like voice chatted with him before. We have a fairly long Discord DM thread going, but I had never actually talked to him in person before. So anyway, I'm hoping he will come to TreasureCon this year, and we can meet up in real life as well. So
IRL.
Check out Matthew Hobby's channel for that discussion on There's Treasure Inside, numbers, etc. All right. Should we do a What's More Likely?
What's more likely?
Cody, you have a What's More Likely for us today.
Yes, I'll go first. We have two What's More Likelies. We got to decide if we want to do the second one or not, because word on the street is Blake's got 72 pages of PowerPoint slides coming up.
Not a lie.
So we'll make this quick, and I'll go back to the how likely is it kind of phrasing, since we got our less likely, more likely. How likely is it that at least one of the chapter header quotes, those like quotes attributed to people, ends up being part of a clue? Alternative would be that he kind of wrote the book and then wanted to give it more texture, and so just kind of pulled up relevant clues from other people, but they don't really have much to do with anything other than kind of painting the narrative.
Okay, so header quotes. Do they have clues?
I think. What are some of the big quotes? Leitmotif.
The leitmotif quote. I have a quote in one of my 72 PowerPoint slides about the Rubik's cube and Rubik, about something about puzzles are there. You just have to see them. That is not the quote, but something like that.
William of Ockham. Is it William?
Oh, William of Ockham.
That one's in there.
I mean, I think you've answered already. I mean, and yeah, I mean, I think there's an answer to this. I'm going to go, because nothing is 100% certain in this. I'm going to go 99%.
Really?
Are you saying at least one is tied to a clue?
Yes.
Okay, well then like 95%. And I think JCB like addressed this directly at TreasureCon as well. Like he kind of, I can't remember what the question was, but he kind of laughed and he was like, some are just for fun, some are, and then I can't remember what he actually said, but I think he essentially
I don't remember
alluded to saying that there is varying degrees of significance to those quotes.
Really? I'll have to pull that back up, because I remember I transcribed all of the different questions and answers from TreasureCon.
Yeah.
And then that one somehow slipped my mind then.
I'm not 100% certain it was from TreasureCon, Bryn.
It might not have been.
It might have been right before TreasureCon. Anyway, I agree with Bryn that there was a JCB question about the quotes, and he said whatever Bryn just said. That some were just for fun and some are probably important.
Well, then I guess that answers this What's More Likely.
What's more likely?
Good thing we had a backup one.
Good thing we have a backup one.
So can I put you pretty high confidence, Cody?
Put me at 90. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. That was What's More Likely.
I was going to be much lower until...
What's more likely?
was going to be much lower until that information was brought to my attention.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of finding which ones are important.
Yeah.
Which I think you flagged.
And it will be interesting because it reminds me very much of like when we're talking about the factualness of the soccer chapter with like goals at times and scores and all of that, and talking about how even though he doesn't have control over what actually happened, he can kind of write it in a way where he has different ways of phrasing things that gives him some control. I feel like it's very similar with quotes, right? Because if you're writing a book and you have clues and you're picking quotes to use as part of those clues, it's like you're really limited in what you can put as a quote because it has to be something someone said.
Right. No,
and maybe do you guys think that the quotes from the more lesser known people then would be more likely to be tied to a clue because it would be like something you had to dig more to find a specific phrasing for something? Like the one that comes to mind is that like Lecrae one, right? That was like a fairly lesser known rapper.
Yes.
I think it was like a Facebook quote.
It was a Facebook quote. At least that's where I can find it now. Whether it was more prominent when JCB was writing the book, I don't know, but that's a really good point, Cody, that could be a pointer potentially to a quote that's important if it's really obscure.
Yeah. Huh. Good. Well, something good came out of the what's more likely then, at least.
Yes, absolutely. I guess we should probably do Bryn's or a user submitted what's more likely.
Yeah, this was from the Mailbag, and I do think this is a good example of another way that the Mailbag can continue to be used in a new way. If there is a what's more likely that you want us to talk about on the show. So this was from Sebastian. He says, "Hey everyone, I have a what's more likely for y'all. If no box is found this summer, hype will die down and people will lose interest, or if no box is found this summer, we hit a fever pitch and interest will grow." So I guess let's do more likely being like enthusiasm incline, less likely is enthusiasm decreases.
Okay, so the sliders will be level of enthusiasm if no box is found this summer. Any volunteers to start? That's a good question.
I can go first. I feel like the first thing that popped into my head feels like correct to me. Okay. My gut feeling. My gut feeling is that right now, interest is going to continue to steadily decline until something happens. And if that's a box is found, then I think, yes, I think that interest goes way up. So ultimately, I think my answer to this is that interest will go down if a box is not found. I think there's other things that could happen, like if JCB did another like interview where there's like some real good meat on the bone, I think interest could go back up and start moving the other direction. But I don't see a world where people get more excited at this point that like there's still this opportunity because it hasn't been found.
Right.
I know that's how I would feel at this point. Like if nothing's found and there's no like big leaps in progress over the course of this summer, I feel like I'm going to be like itching more for more information in some way than itching to like all the more willpower to like dive in and keep searching myself.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would agree with that as well. I'm gonna say it just slightly decreases. I guess I have some data to show you. This is a preview of. This will be a foreshadowing, let's say, of the Discord detectives this week. Because information overload. Are you familiar with that user? He was the one that made the null test about how many anagrams you could find in the Past and Future box. He has a cool data analysis that he did of the Mysterious Writings Discord that kind of addresses this as well. So, and I think the data kind of feeds into my feeling as well. Is it, in my opinion, it seems like the lion's share is kind of gaining more traction, I would say, at this point. And that might just be confirmation bias because we're working on it a bit more. But
do you mean gaining more traction in a vacuum or gaining more traction relative to like?
Yeah, probably in a
like
vacuum.
Taking away from the other 4 boxes.
Oh.
Well, in a vacuum means like people coming from the street who have never heard of it being like, oh, I'm going to do the lion's share. I think it's more of people going from the part 2 boxes and shifting focus to the lion's share because the shorter part 2 boxes, I think it's faster to get frustrated and want to move on to something else.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so you're probably right. I'll agree with you that the enthusiasm is waning if no box is found this summer. Bryn.
I'm going to trend the same as you guys, but I think I'm just going to go like 42.
Okay.
Make sure you get it right on 42.
I got
it. Because I think like if you're in it now, I guess I'd be surprised if there's like that many new people jumping in at this point in time. So I feel like if you're in it now, you're still in it from X whatever time. I think if you're still in it at this point, you're still going to continue to likely be in it a year from now. That being said, I definitely don't think there would be more excitement. Like, I think we would lose some people just kind of fizzling out, being like, man, nothing's happened, kind of lose that momentum and steam. Whereas if a box is found, that's going to light a fire for sure. I think people are going to be super excited and like motivated to get out there. So yeah, a little bit of decline, but not much.
I mean, Bull and Thread, the YouTube channel, Bull and Thread, he predicted when a box is found, there's going to be like 5x increase in the amount of people doing the hunt. That's his prediction. And I
believe maybe not 5x, but I believe something like that. Because I mean, the media coverage of, hey, someone just found this box that has X amount of dollars in it, I feel like it's going to be a lot of media coverage, I would guess. And versus like when he's first launching the book and no one's actually found anything, I think you're talking more towards people who are like looking for a treasure hunt versus people who are like get excited by the money.
I think a lot of that will depend though on if the person stays anonymous or not. Because if the person stays anonymous, there's not really much of like a what do you call it? Like a PR circuit. Because then you don't have someone to interview.
I think there is. I think JCB would be doing interviews after a box is found. I bet.
I see.
I would say that's very likely, 90%. We can do that one next week. But along with the box being found, even if it's anonymous, remember that JCB has stated he will release the solution. So that automatically turns up the intensity quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah.
I cannot wrap my head around the fact that someday we will just have solutions for these. Isn't that wild that we're just going to have a solution after thinking about these boxes
for thousands and thousands of
every
hours.
single day of my life? The last year and a half. That's going to be surreal to have a solution.
I will say real quick, an answer to this question also, and this is totally anecdotal, but I would say anecdotally, I feel like I'm seeing a lot less posts that are like, I'm excited to find this box. I want to find this box. And a lot more posts about like, I'm excited for a box to be found.
Agree.
That's a great point.
I mean, I haven't been in Discord too much or anything, but I think in general, it'll be a win for the community overall to have a box found in general.
People now everyone's like, I'm going to be able to find a second box.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my coworkers just recently retired, and as a retirement activity, I recommended There's Treasure Inside.
Nice.
And sure enough, he and his wife bought the book. They are currently in Olympic National Park.
Are they really? Nice.
They also,
that's amazing.
As soon as they got the book, he texted me and he said, are some of these pages supposed to be upside down? And so he received a copy that was an obvious misprint, that he had pages that were upside down in his book.
That's crazy.
So just a heads up, PSA, there's still some misprints going on there. And that would be wild if you were just received this book never went on the internet, like, and you had pages that were upside down, you would definitely think that's a clue.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. Anyway, they were going to Olympic Peninsula regardless as a road trip. And
Okay.
anyway, so I sent him a few places to scout out for us.
Nice. Very nice.
Yep. I have not heard a report back yet. So when I do, I'll let everybody know.
That's awesome. Very fun.
Yes. Cool. Good. What's more likely's? Are we ready for horseshoes and hand grenades? Bryn, do you want to kick us off in horseshoes and hand grenades?
Yeah. I have been thinking more about past and feature. Oof, yuck. Line share recently. Oh, is this super hard to see for you guys?
No.
It's the first thing that popped in my head, because I feel like this might be hard to see, but
oh shoot, it didn't export well, but that's okay. I'll read everything anyways.
Highlight it with your cursor, Blake. Oh yeah.
Wow, a major design faux pas on my end. Oh, I like. Anyways, I was just kind of giving a little thought to Pokemon Box last week, just because I kind of still am constantly always thinking about it in one way or another. And just a few things that are still rattling around in my brain that I just want to talk through with you guys. And maybe see if the community has any comments they want to add to this conversation. But when I was thinking through, so I guess in general, like the first page of the Pokemon box, if you will, like however many paragraphs that is, at least those first couple paragraphs really feel like JCB is presenting some of the very key themes to the chapter, in my opinion. So when he talks about the Jayco pop-up camper, another name for that is a tent trailer, which is soft-sided. And he later on talks about, where did I write it down? Despite the camper and tent. So there's like this contrast between the camper and the tents being where they're sleeping to spend the night. So if the pop-up camper is a tent trailer, which is soft-sided, then we also have, hard case Samsonite luggage, where he's explicitly calling out something that's hard-sided. So is that supposed to be a contrast between hard and soft? So when I was thinking about how to apply the hard case to things in the chapter, I thought, is this kind of like the exoskeleton when we think about bugs, flies, crawdads specifically is what made me most interested in that, because the crawdads were kind of thrown in there in a way that the other mentions weren't. And a crawdad, of course, would be a very key example of something with like a hard outer shell. And then the other part of like pop-up camper is that feels very tied in with Froakie. Like, why did he choose Froakie? So is it, kind of pulling in this idea of jumping up, popping up? A frog has this vertical leap. So anyways, I should have prefaced this all with, the slide is called Pokemon Box ... thoughts. Just some thoughts that I've kind of come to dead ends with is why this is horseshoes and hand grenades.
I mean, but I really like the idea of the portmanteau, what you've talked about before, Bryn, with portmanteau being described as named after a piece of luggage. But the part that's always confused me is the portmanteau is I think it's more typically a soft-sided luggage that unfolds. So just throwing that out there as maybe that's why he's doing a soft shell camper, pop-up camper, plus the hard case Samsonite luggage, just to highlight the hard case plus the soft shell would be like a portmanteau. Just an idea.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think like I said, I feel like those first two paragraphs in the Pokemon Box chapter are so dense that there's overlapping. We see overlap between some of the clues that he's trying to weave into the chapter as well. The other thing that I can't really get over and let go, and I know I did a Pokemon Minute on towing at one point, is this idea of wagons.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know if wagons is just supposed to be part of like towing. But in that chapter, and again, and this is in the first couple paragraphs, or the first paragraph, he says the family's station wagon. And then later he says all crowded on the wagon's vinyl seats. So we know he also wants to use station wagon because he wanted hatchback to be in there, right? I mean, this is all assuming he's making things into clues. Like their family probably also literally just had a station wagon, but I think he wanted to include hatchback, and I think he wanted to get wagon in here twice as well. What were you going to say, Blake?
The mysterious minivan. Don't forget about that. The minivan that existed before minivans were popular.
What else? So then wheeled over and hitched up, of course, is like towing something. You would hitch up the wagon. I threw in here from before tiptoeing through hopping toads. So towing, toads.
Interesting.
So I really felt like that was a nod later in the chapter to towing, the idea of towing. And then I also love that in that first paragraph, he uses trek back, and the etymology of trek is to pull something. So I'm so set on towing being something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like wagon is a next logical step to that somehow because of, you know, what I said, wagon fits so perfectly in there. So all I can think of is like, oh, and I also wrote that the hard case luggage, like that Samsonite luggage, like you'd be pulling that. That is luggage that you pull.
Mm-hmm.
Like all I can do with it is think, you know, covered wagons, but like the Oregon Trail doesn't line up with this road trip route. I kind of liked the idea because it's like the original road trip, right? Like seeing the country, going cross country. Maybe not for leisure, but the only place I could think of that would have anything to do with that would be Independence, Missouri, you know, within the approximate region of this box. But that doesn't seem quite right. I'd also found a while back that Chattanooga, Tennessee is like where the tow truck was invented. They have a towing museum there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean, is that something that they would have like stopped to see as a destination on their road trip? I don't know. I don't think so. So anyways, I guess maybe I'm the only one out there who's so set on towing being something.
I mean, you provide a lot of evidence. It's an interesting way to put it together.
It just feels like it's so emphasized in these first couple paragraphs that I feel like are so important.
Is it, I mean, another way to look at it, is it just another way of hinting at hitched? Like getting hitched, meaning getting married, right? And this comes from the information overload / Discord as well, where it seems like there's a trend in Eureka Springs because it's the wedding capital of the South. So I would just throw that option out there, as these are all just pointers towards hitching, getting hitched would be another way to think about it.
I suppose it feels too direct though, if he's then gonna just straight up say hitched up.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
And I'm just like, I'm so in the weeds with Pokemon boxes, so I'm like kind of trying to take a step back and that I can revisit with some fresh eyes and hopefully get myself out of the hole that I've dug myself in for so much of this. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to throw the wagon thing out there again. If anybody has any ideas that they want to throw in the comments about either one of these, I would be happy to hear it. I think it's interesting to consider.
Yeah. Load up your comments into the YouTube.
Hopefully this is helpful to someone, kind of can spur some ideas. That's my hope.
It's helpful to me. I haven't thought about Pokemon Box in a while, so this is a good tickler. All right. Cody, any thoughts on that, or should we talk about Wisconsin?
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I'll say that kind of came to mind, I think we've talked about it before, is I do agree that if he's going to do a whole bunch of wordplay to try and get you to a specific word or concept, he's not going to also then use that word directly in the book. Just seems like you wouldn't do both. So I would agree with that, as you guys were talking about with the idea of hitched.
Okay.
So, all right, let's start this Wisconsin saga.
Yes, the Wisconsin saga.
Put you in a mansion somewhere in Wisconsin.
Tell us the context of that, please.
T-Pain rhyming mansion with Wisconsin.
Awesome. All right. So this is inspired by K-Pro's commentary that she was telling about Wisconsin on her last episode based on what you had mentioned the previous episode, Bryn. Sort of doing a little bit of ping-pong with K-Pro right now.
Nice.
Highly recommend you listen to the Calazars show from last Monday, or was it Thursday? I'm not sure. Last week. It is so funny. I was dying with laughter because Mike was being so like rude and like dismissive of it. It's just hilarious. And then he just got the soundboard out. Anyway, it's a must watch. But there's good content in there from K-Pro about the Wisconsin quote unquote solve, the Wisconsin idea. And then again, this is as a reminder based on Bryn, the -90 latitude, the -90 longitude, 45-degree latitude that aligns to the midpoint of North America or the United States, depending on whether you include Alaska and Hawaii, et cetera, et cetera. That 4590 coordinate lines up with Athens, Wisconsin in Marathon County. So a lot of like high level clues that we're excited about. They titled this episode Unbreakable Thread, and now the thing that K-Pro thinks links all 5 treasures, which she has talked about before, is this pick and shovel logo. And the reason that she's excited about this is because the Wisconsin flag has this nice pickaxe and shovel right on the flag and state seal. So that's one thing. My printer is being haunted right now, so thought I heard something behind me, and it was, and then the printer's making sound. So
spooky. What if a message prints out?
Yeah.
Oh, and it says it's in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Okay. So this is really annoying. All right, I'll try to power through. So anyway, I wanted to think about pointers and like, is there a reference at all to flags in the chapter or in the book anywhere that it would say you're supposed to like look at a flag discreetly? And there's no instance of the word flag in There's Treasure Inside, at least in part 1. I actually didn't look in part 2. I apologize. But anyway, so I'm thinking like, if the flag is a clue, would there be a pointer to it? I don't know. But is the weaving theme maybe pointing towards you're supposed to use a flag as a large number of clues? So that's my current thought on this.
Couldn't the pick and shovel be the pointer to the flag with the pick and shovel on it?
Yes, but there are several flags and state seals that also have picks and shovels, believe it or not. We'll get to that in a moment. Now, the thought is if the flag is a big clue, there's multiple levels to this clue, which I think there might be. That's what I'm going to be talking about today, is mostly based on the flag. So just a tickler, is the weaving theme pointing to using a flag as a major piece of the puzzle here? That's my current brainstorm. All right. K-Pro pointed out that if you Google the main events that occurred during the 1960 Olympics. And again, we're at the Olympic theme because of Athens, Wisconsin, and Marathon County. These are the top 3 things that pop up when you Google the main events that happened during the Summer Olympics in 1960 in Rome. So first and foremost is Wilma Rudolph. Not a surprise. There's a whole chapter about Wilma Rudolph in the book. The second is Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali, as an 18-year-old, won the gold medal. And there's a story about that, and there's treasure inside in the same chapter as well. The third thing is this story, Abebe Bikila's barefoot marathon. So he ran the marathon completely barefoot. He's an Ethiopian runner and won the gold medal while running the marathon barefoot.
That's
crazy. The third story that pops up. So that's why K-Pro is like really bought in on this, because of that marathon story as being prominent but not mentioned in the book. And that intersection is in Marathon County, Wisconsin. That's kind of cool, right? It made me think about this weird passage in the 96 Olympics, which was the 1996 Atlanta Olympics provided plenty of memories. Some record-breaking, one tragic, and another odds-defying. And we had flagged this earlier because JCB doesn't talk about those first 2 things, right? In the story, he just talks about the Nigerian soccer team. And we kind of, put together the pieces that Michael Johnson broke a number of records in some of the sprints, and I think in the long jump as well. The tragic one being the bombing. But there was kind of 3 things he mentions here in this Olympics. And now, if we did research on 3 things of the 1960 Olympics, now the third one is that marathon. Is that a pointer to doing a little bit of research on these Olympics? And then you find that this marathon occurred from this barefoot runner. So pointer theme. Anyway, just a thought.
I like that. That's good.
So here's the runner, Abebe Bikila, and there's a documentary about this as well. Just wanted to give some context here. As you can see, he's running barefoot. On the pointer theme, this is out of place, I'm sorry, but trees bent to their sides at 45 degrees. This is part of the shipwreck chapter. How had I not noticed this? And this is like, to me, like the pointer here. That 45 degrees is super important because JCB immediately says, how had I not noticed this? Pointer theme. Has nothing to do with the runner. Sorry, it's just out of place. I didn't put it in the slideshow. Okay, now we're going down rabbit hole territory and we'll come back up. Don't worry. Looking at the Ethiopian national anthem, this was just a Wikipedia rabbit hole. They had a picture of the Ethiopian national anthem written in Amharic, and immediately I see that there's some like symbols for the magnifying glass here in this language. So that's just a fun one. Don't worry. Okay, let's go back to Wisconsin. All right, so zoomed in on this logo, going on the Wisconsin theme, are there other things in this flag or the seal that would be clues within TTI that would point towards Wisconsin? Any guesses?
What are those little triangular number sequences down there?
Exactly. We also have a badger. And
yeah, very Pokemon box.
The word forward. So let's go back to the first question, this pickaxe and shovel. So according to some guy, Sean, our friend, we talked with a couple weeks ago, or talked about his Idaho solve because of the I-90 Page, Idaho page 90, 9D. 9 is I and the alphabet, D is D, Idaho. Anyway, there's a large bolus of information that some guy Sean has collected. He also says that Idaho has the pick and shovel in their state flag as well, which is important. And this was a comment in Calazar's live show. So anyway, I ran out of time. I haven't picked out all the other state seals that some guy Sean said here. So a little bit more research to be done from my end. I apologize. And then also there is a Marathon City just west of Wausau in the same county, in Marathon County. So there is also a Marathon City, Wisconsin as well. So that was information from the live show. If we keep calling
him some guy Sean, but it says it's some Sean guy.
Oh, some Sean guy. But I think his YouTube channel is some guy Sean. We'll post it below.
Oh boy, well that's confusing.
If you want to look at his Idaho evidence, he has a number of videos that are very excellent on Idaho Solve. So highly recommend those. All right, so here's 2 that I pulled so far. Again, kind of ran out of time. I apologize, but I mean, the Idaho is particularly interesting. So you see this guy with his pickaxe and shovel here. And you also have antlers. Oof.
Ooh.
So Idaho's way better. Sorry. Interestingly, you also have the cornucopia, which is that one I haven't quite figured out yet, but I have some ideas. And then Montana here, you have a crossed pickaxe and shovel as well. So those are the 2 state flags that have it. And then I think the other 2 instances of Arizona and California are on the state seals.
Was Montana's done in Microsoft Paint?
I was just going to say, what is this Microsoft Paint version of?
I had to do a little fact checking here. Sorry. Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, if that was like the reason for the antler thing, it feels like the best answer I've been given so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're getting too set. I think in general, we need to reassess what we're doing with the over and underlines in the Hopi calendar. Because I think we're just like too set on making an antler when I think that's probably a stretch. And I think the fact that we have something like tangible there to work with, I really think we should try to dig more into that and see if we can like find another solution or potential solution that we could try to consider there. I'm not a big fan of antler.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Not to be Debbie Downer here, but just wanted to throw that out there because I've been thinking about that for a few weeks now.
All right. I think that's a fair discussion point. Let's go back to Wisconsin, though. That's the topic of the day. So Wisconsin, I think you had pointed this out, Bryn, the Badger State. This was a post on Reddit. Today I learned Wisconsin became known as the Badger State because early lead miners were either too poor, too busy, or both to build a home on their mining claim. So to get through the harsh Wisconsin winters, they lived inside their mines and were mocked and called badgers for living in the ground like animals. And then we do have reference to the Badger clan in the Charles the Loma chapter. The Hopi are divided into clans. In 1921, a baby boy was born into the Badger clan. Interesting. This was from friend, emerging fourth member of our crew, Zach.
Oh, nice.
You reminded us of this, yes.
That's awesome.
So there is a reference to Badger clan, badgers, in here and in the Pokemon chapter. We talked about in What's More Likely last week, whether or not we think there's clues for the lion's share in the part 2 boxes. The 2 references of badgers. Interesting. And there is a badger. Look at that right here on the state flag of Wisconsin.
Looks scary.
All right. The next topic I want to talk about is forward. It seems like if JCB were using the flag as a major clue, forward would be important because it's so prominent on the flag. Agree?
Yes.
So I went through and looked for all the instances of forward in the book. And here's my magnum opus. Remember we were talking after reading chapter 22 about the kind of mirror-like images between chapter 22 start about Picasso asking for peas. He wants a peas, which in Spanish means pencil. That was his first word, supposedly. And the start of the book, chapter 1. So just the other day, my 3.5-year-old son asked me if we could play together. His bright blue eyes beamed at me like lasers. How could I say no? He led me hand in hand downstairs to his room. There, spread out across his floor, was a street map of Los Angeles. He inspected it, grabbed a pink highlighter and some blank paper, and started marking. I'm working on a project, he said. I'm making a map. What kind of map? I asked. His marker moved with a quick flourish. A treasure map, he replied. And this mirrors very closely to chapter 22, which fittingly has the word forward. And you'd be surprised how few instances of forward there are in the book. I'm trying to connect this, chapter 22, in 1882, a small infant wrapped in diapers sat on a wood floor. The boy's name was Pablo. He had just uttered the sound peas. The young child was referring to lápiz, which in Spanish means pencil. His mother smiled glowingly at him. She was completely smitten. Having just heard her son's very first word, she leaned forward and gently placed a marker into his hand. Pablo grabbed it, looked down, and began to draw. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like, JCB starts the book talking about his son drawing a treasure map, and then now we have an instance of she leaned forward and gently placed a marker into his hand to start to draw. Draw what? A treasure map? A treasure map in Wisconsin? Because of the word forward.
So you think this is because just the word forward?
I think if forward is important because it's so prominent on the Wisconsin flag, it just says forward. I'm looking for instances of the word forward in the book and seeing if there's confirmation bias.
So you think the fact that forward shows up in this instance where it's like such a clear connection between the two is what makes it significant?
Why did JCB say she leaned forward and gently placed a marker into his hand? That detail seems a little suspect, I would argue. But I'm happy to hear opinions.
It just feels like that would be a very subdued clue.
Mm-hmm.
If forward is literally like the most prominent word on the whole state flag.
Mm-hmm. It has to be sprinkled in there very carefully. And because chapter 1 and chapter 22 beginnings are so mirror-like, let's say, you should already have your spidey sense. And now that we're looking for a forward clue, it's right there. So in my mind, it's subtle, but very important. Cody, do you have any gut reaction to this? Am I real crazy?
I keep going back and forth. Because it seems like we're gonna use the word subdued, I think. It seems like very cherry picked, but at the same time, playing devil's advocate against myself and what Brent originally said, I totally understand how, like, if he wants to hide the word forward, I mean, he's gotta really hide it somehow. And you're describing a reasonable way of like him hiding it in a way that like there's almost like direction, or like you said, spidey sense around it to make it stand out once you really think about it. And then I also agree that she leaned forward and gently placed a mark in her hand. I do feel like describing this would be like bending down to place a marker in a baby's hand, not leaning forward. So, which makes me think that like forward was placed there intentionally,
Right.
potentially.
Yes.
Because it does seem like a strange way of describing if you're placing a marker in a baby's hand, you're gonna like bend down and place it in his hand, not lean forward.
Yeah. It's just like slightly suspicious there. Slightly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm 50-50. I understand what you're saying and I like it. It also feels very cherry picky to me at the same time.
Yeah. I won't argue with that. It's cherry picking to the extreme. But
was this the only instance of the word forward in the book?
It is not. It is not. We will go through every other instance of forward. Just wait.
Were there 72 instances of forward?
So what about I think if I were like to see forward on this flag and I'm like, okay, what would be a big clue for this in the book? The first thing that comes to mind is when he in the intro says, oh gosh, I don't have the quote. Like, if you're not going to look for the treasures, then reading this is straightforward.
Yep.
And then the other instance I thought of was the basketball game, where he doesn't go forward, he goes backwards.
Okay.
Like if that basketball chapter is supposed to kind of give us some sort of greater direction of like going one way, going backwards, like a forward is something greater to consider there. That could be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't want to derail what you're doing here.
Here's what I will say. If I was trying to hide the word forward in a book, I feel like I would definitely, in like, instead of introduction or how to read this book, there would be a part called forward. And then I'd like hint at a flag in the forward of the book.
That's a good, you're a master puzzle creator, Cody. Yeah. That's a great point. It's a point against the forward idea here. Just as an aside, I remember what the puzzle comment was before we started the show. It was, we're supposed to talk about the WAS and the card selection task results.
Oh,
so we will talk about that at the beginning of next episode. Sorry, everybody that responded with the survey about the WAS and card selection task. Okay. Total distraction there. So you're absolutely right, Bryn. If you're how to read this book, if you are someone with no interest in finding the physical treasures I have hidden, then reading this book should be a straightforward exercise. Each chapter, part one, is curated by the history and stories of at least one item in the treasure. Sometimes multiple pieces conspire to share the wisdom of a topic, such as a state flag conspires with multiple pieces of evidence. All right. Next instance is in chapter 5, Art Smith. His unique style and influence pushed the jewelry industry to places it had never ventured before. His designs moved the modernist art movement forward. I have no solution for this. This is a hanging chad. I don't know what to do with this. Point against. All right. So if anybody has good ideas on how to confirmation bias this one in, let me know.
I'm just so worried that like people are going to be looking at Wisconsin now and just trying to make like the confirmation bias is going to hit. Like we need to find other things that just organically bring us back to Wisconsin.
Yeah. This is the theory I'm working on right now, and you're being a real Mike right now. Because
sorry. Where's my soundboard?
It's exactly what he was saying with K-Pro is like, it's all confirmation bias, but it's very frustrating because it's like, yeah, you couldn't just say it's confirmation bias, but you have to test your theory at some point too.
Right? I agree.
Yes.
So
you just have to be, the more you're searching for something specific, the more diligent you have to be, and the more like obvious the result has to be.
Yes, and I will give the confirmation bias lesson at the end of this. Don't worry.
Okay.
We also have a full chapter that the subheading is called Fail Forward. So,
touche.
Interesting.
That's nice.
So, as you will probably recall, there's a lot of mentions of forward in this chapter. So far, we've had 3. One in chapter 22, one in How to Read This Book, and one in chapter 5. Now we're in chapter 14. The new colored glass was a smashing hit. It was a huge leap forward in glassmaking. Now, we had flagged smashing hit as being weird before, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like other instances of the broken glass in this chapter too.
Right. Smashing hit. Let us consider the Milwaukee Brewers as a baseball reference for hit, right next to one instance of forward in the book. Catcher's mitts are called mitts because they lack individual fingers like mittens. And the Milwaukee Brewers logo is a mitt, and it has a little M and a B for Milwaukee Brewers hidden in there. I thought you would like that, Bryn.
Wow, that's a great logo.
As a little logo Easter egg for you. But that seems like an interesting coincidence, no? The new colored glass was a smashing hit. It was a huge leap forward in glassmaking. So again, you're right. I'm putting a microscope on the word forward and trying to fit things, whether or not it's a square peg or a round peg, into the round hole. But I thought that was an interesting connection. What do you think?
I do love a hand/mitten theme.
And some would argue, such as Zach, that Milwaukee is kind of shaped like a mitten as well. And this logo is kind of in the shape of Wisconsin as well. That's a bit of a stretch. But there is slight argument on the internet that Wisconsin is a bit more of a mitten shape than even Michigan is.
Really? What's up?
But let us look at the Michigan mitt, because we do have the reference to mitt in the introduction. For anybody that doesn't know, this is the bottom half of Michigan, and it looks like a little mitten there. And then you can buy these mittens that have Michigan on them. Anyway, I do like the smashing hit, like the mitt reference to the Wisconsin/Milwaukee Brewers logo. Cody, have I convinced you any more?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. My ears are still open.
Let me get Exhibit C out. All right. This is also in the Fail Forward chapter. Without failure, success would not exist. Failure teaches us. It allows us to progress. This is what is meant by failing forward. If there exists one artistry in the world that has evolved through the process of failure, it would be the craft of making glass. The history of glass making has been experimentation in the pursuit of perfection. Blowing glass requires a wholehearted embrace of trial and error. Visit a school for glass art and marvel at the amount of broken and discarded glass in the waste bins. So, interestingly, in 1962, ceramicist Harvey Littleton at the University of Wisconsin-Madison enabled the very first hot glass program at an American university. How interesting is that? We have forward, and now we have visit a school for glass art. And it just so happens that the first school for glass art in the United States was in Wisconsin. Weird.
I like that the most so
Me
far.
too.
Okay. I just quickly Googled prominent school for glass art. It sounds like this just says the Pacific Northwest serves as the major global hub.
Right. So
but this is the first that Blake's talking about, right?
First.
Right. But I feel like you could make an argument, for either, like if he's highlighting
the history.
I guess you're saying the history. You're right. Okay.
We can get use that highlighter.
Yeah, that pink highlighter.
You see it coming out of my laser beams coming out of my blue eyes. And yes, Pacific Northwest certainly, but probably because of Dale Chihuly, you likely know. He's a renowned glass artist in Tacoma. Interesting. That emerged from, he earned his glass making degree from UW-Madison. So he went to this school.
Okay.
Interesting.
Very interesting. I like that.
Very interesting. All right. The other thing I looked up was whether Wisconsin had a plethora of like Tiffany glass for some reason, because this is all about Tiffany, Tiffany, but I didn't find necessarily a trend where Wisconsin had a abundance of Tiffany glass or items above any other state. New York certainly has the very most because there was a Tiffany factory in New York, but it didn't seem like that was out of place. So that's a point against, I would say. All right. Let's skip ahead to the Thoreau chapter. He wrote in his journal, "I have set fire to the forests, but I have done no wrong therein. And now it is as if the lightning had done it. These flames are but consuming their natural food." I'm so sorry. This is the same chapter 14. Thoreau doesn't exactly sound like a man failing forward. So what's the connection for Thoreau to Wisconsin? Thoreau College is a holistic microcollege located in Viroqua, Wisconsin. So Thoreau College is in Wisconsin. Interesting. Again,
it is. Yeah.
All next to instances of the word forward.
It is. Okay. I do like the trend. You're luring me in more and more.
Now, it's way too much outside research to be relevant. What do you think about that comment?
I don't think
what?
Like, I'm doing too much outside research outside the book to find these things. What do you think about that?
No.
These all seem like they're all quick Google searches.
Okay. All right. Next one. So this is where we start to fail forward. Here's my instances of ones that I can't really find good connections for. So these are also part of chapter 14. It's quite possible that our iris vase was a happy accident, the treasure created through a process of failing forward. I don't have a good answer for that. Being accountable, assessing, improving, this is what failing forward is all about. In theory, we should welcome it, but it can be hard not to fear failing. I don't have an answer for that. There's a call to action for people if they have good connections for these passages that have forward. It wasn't until the day I read Failing Forward by author John Maxwell. After reading Failing Forward, I slowly became better at welcoming failure into my life. So the dream scenario was I was going to look up John Maxwell and he was going to be like from Wisconsin. And it was it was so close. He's from Garden City, Michigan.
Oof.
Shoot.
That is devastating.
And then the weirdest one that I feel like there should be a connection, but it's not there that I could find. You and I can allow failure to teach us, prepare us, and help guide us closer to all the things we seek, let's fail forward with as much gusto as we can. As much gusto as we can. It's like, ooh, is there a nice gusto connection to Wisconsin? I could not find it.
Dang.
Yep. All right. And then outside of chapter 14, we have in the Olympics, 96 Olympics chapter, but on this occasion, Argentina did not move forward fast enough. Dang. No connection there.
Yeah.
And then in the acknowledgements, I look forward to all the treasures we'll discover together when talking about his kids. So it falls apart, I would say. Less than half of the instances I have a good answer for the forward connection, sadly.
I am really interested, though, with how many forwards that you found, especially when we're trying to like create this map, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it seemed, I mean, forward is just like a very real direction.
Mm-hmm.
I would be curious to then go through and see, like, is there, backwards or reverses, more left and rights. I know that we've talked about that quite a lot, but yeah, more of these directional terms.
Right. Okay. So that was my forward spiel. Friend Zach also mentioned that Dionysus is the god of wine and winemaking. One could argue that is a form of brewing. Again, going back to the Brewers connection, the Milwaukee Brewers, Wisconsin being a brewery state. So another argument for Wisconsin. All right, let's look at the cornucopia. This is my stretch one, and I'm looking for ideas here. Wozniak agreed. This is from chapter 1. Soon after returning from a fruit orchard in Oregon, Jobs named their new company Apple. Right above that, there was a mention of fruition. So why wouldn't JCB say soon after returning from an orchard in Oregon, Jobs named their new company Apple? He added fruit in there.
Yeah.
So is that
that's definitely.
Yeah.
I would need something about the abundance of fruit. Yeah, I would say that's a stretch.
Okay. Now I'm showing a picture of those triangles. This needs no explanation.
I like this the most.
So friend Zach pointed out that it's not exactly the triangular number series, right? Because it goes 1, 3, 4, 5 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a problem, but there's 13 triangles on here to represent the 13 original colonies, and they are triangular ingots that are stacked here to represent the mining in Wisconsin. And that, I mean, could that be the triangle clue?
Definitely could be. I go so many different ways on the triangular numbers. Like if it's supposed to be, a direction with like the number theory in itself, or if it's just supposed to be triangles.
Mm-hmm.
It's tricky.
And it not only is it like triangles, it's laid out exactly how a triangular number pattern is, except it's missing the 2. But that's crazy.
That is really funny.
That's a great.
Yeah, that was the first thing that really jumped out to me.
Right. Goats. I believe this is also from friend Zach. Did you know which state is home to the most dairy goats? It's Wisconsin. More than 83,000 dairy goats live in Wisconsin, and that's more than double second place, which is California. So goat connection, got milk, milkman, goat milk. It's all coming together. Wisconsin.
That's a strong one.
Very nice. All right. Going into another deep dive here. So I mentioned there will be a quote here. If you are curious, you will find the puzzles around you. If you are determined, you will solve them. There are no Rubik, sorry. And this, of course, is the quote right above the herding 100 hamsters, which is one of our key like triple letter alliterations. So when I was going around in my Onyx backcountry, I noticed something interesting in the maps of Wisconsin. That they have these county roads that are named letters. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is I was not finding just single letters, but I was finding up to 3 letters in what are called the county trunk highways in Wisconsin. And they're designated as like single letters, double letters, or triple letters. That immediately raised my hackles.
I like this.
So, as an example, if I look up a road, a county road in Google Maps, I can find a variety of triple H, county road HHH in a variety of counties in Wisconsin. How do you like that? Especially if we're drawing a map.
Yeah, I like it. Did you look into at all if this is unique to Wisconsin?
It is fairly unique. I was finding some instances in Michigan, even though they use a different system in Michigan. There are a few triple letter county roads in Michigan as well. And the biggest problem, which I'm actually showing on here, is that I could not find a BBB county road in Wisconsin, which I feel is critical because of a brilliant business blueprint in chapter 1. The only one I could find was in Michigan. That's a problem, I feel. But yeah, so here I can find a double B's in Wisconsin, but the only triple B I could find was in Michigan. So that one really got my adrenaline going when I was searching Onyx maps and finding these triple letter county roads.
I do like this in general, and it seems unique enough. I guess my question was like, I didn't know if there's like 30 states that use something similar. So the fact that there's like, it's pretty unique to that area at least.
Yeah,
I really like this, and I wouldn't get too discouraged that the BBB is in Michigan, because not all of the clues are going to point to like the 1 square mile where the treasure is, right? We got to get there somehow. So you could start there. That could be part of a way to get to where we need to go.
Yes.
This is a great find.
Thank you. So that's as far as I've taken that. Just a couple other notes. Here's the geological marker for that minus 90, 45 degrees from the Marathon County Park Commission. And even this sign labels it as 45 degrees minus 90, which I like. Or maybe that's dash 90 west. I'm not sure. Anyway, I thought it was cool. What else do I have? That one I'll save for later. Just thinking about 45 degrees more as an important latitude. This was a crazy one. The part of the 45th parallel called the Collins-Valentine line defines part of the international border between Quebec, Canada, and New York and Vermont. I was really going to be on board with that, but Valentine and Valentine's Day is not mentioned in the book.
There's a big group of people sitting in a heart.
That's true.
The love story, wholehearted.
So that was a fun fact, I felt.
That is fun.
And then the 45th parallel also defines most of the border between Montana and Wyoming as well, just as a fun fact.
Why does it look so much lower at the top of Wyoming than it does at the top of New York?
Because it's a curve.
Doesn't it? You still drew it to live?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you more opportunity to use that highlighter.
Okay, thanks. All right. So now that we're thinking about Wisconsin, let's do the confirmation bias exercise. So I went on Atlas Obscura and looked at like all the top ranked places in Wisconsin to visit. Mitchell Park, and I just selected out the ones I felt like could match things in the book, which was quite a lot. And I'm not advocating for this approach, but I just wanted to do it as a confirmation bias exercise. A unique botanical garden, such as the weird rose garden that we had that had talking roses. The Mars Cheese Castle, we have a space theme. Rudolph Grotto Gardens, Wilma Rudolph, and it's 5 acres. Gravity Hill in Wisconsin, physics theme,
nice.
where the laws of physics are defied. There's a Sputnik that it looks like you're on level ground, but you actually, or it looks like you're going uphill, but your car will start to roll forward, like an optical illusion.
Bryn, coincidence of the day.
I know, that is.
There's the Sputnik 4 crash site where there is a metal ring in the middle of the road where the exact spot was that the Soviet satellite crash landed in 1962. You have the National Mustard Museum from the Pokemon box, Mustard the Troops. The American Geographical Society Library. There's a ladybug building.
I've seen those ladybugs.
The Hodog, if we're talking about Lord of the Rings, this is like that dragon from Anvari's Ring. There's a Lake Michigan Triangle, paranormal activity on the Great Lakes. This one I put in just for fun. There's an Elvis Karate Fight plaque. A stone marker memorializes the spot where the king broke up a street fight with a classic karate stance. All right, this is a good one.
Oh my god.
Our unbreakable thread, the world's heaviest ball of twine.
That's a good one.
Thanks. The Golden Rondelle. The spaceship-like theater, which is still in use, was one of the most popular exhibits at the 1964 New York World's Fair. We had in the book in TTI. Timms Hill, the highest point in Wisconsin, is capped by 2 towers that are not as mythic as Tolkien's, but provide much better views. The 2 towers. J.R. Tolkien. Rhinestone Cowboy House. Talk a lot about jewels and precious gems. Bryn, you like this one? The L.R. Ingersoll Physics Museum.
Say no more.
This one I put in for fun, sorry. The International Clown Hall of Fame.
Scary.
Gary Gygax Memorial for Dungeons and Dragons. There's another 45th parallel marker as well. That's like several miles away from the other one. This one I like, the Paul Bunyan Logging Camp Museum. We were thinking about legends the other day. The International Crane Foundation. We had the crane and lifted as part of one of the chapters that kind of matched your physics theme. There's another World's Fair building that got transported to Wisconsin. The Bergstrom Mahler Museum of Glass. This museum houses one of the world's largest collections of glass paperweights. Remember, we had the weird paperweight mention in the shipwreck chapter about using one of those discs as a paperweight.
Mm-hmm.
The world's largest penny. Roads diverge. We have the Robert Frost quote in the... This is like a little art exhibit that has a bunch of street signs that point different directions. St. Mary of the Oaks Shrine. Obviously, Oaks is very important. The Wind Point Lighthouse. That one seems interesting because we did talk about wind and wind guiding you, wind pointing you quite a bit the last few weeks. Lighthouse. The Beehive Tombstone. Bee on a pistol. The final resting place of the father of American beekeeping. Interesting. Then we also have the Andy Gump statue, an unusual statue in Wisconsin of the first daily comic strip character. Remember in chapter 1, we do talk about reading the newspaper and reading the daily comic. And then we have the Chester L. Krause Legacy Park. This rural park in central Wisconsin honors one of the world's most prominent numismatists. A numismatist is a specialist scholar or dedicated collector who studies and collects money, including coins, tokens, paper currency, and metals. They focus on the history, production, grading, and economic context of the currency. All right. So that's my confirmation bias corner, that you can almost connect so many things in TTI to random places in Wisconsin. I'm not, again, not advocating for that, just kind of doing an exercise to show that you can make connections almost anywhere. Bean, end of presentation.
I'm excited there's enthusiasm for Wisconsin. I feel like I don't know. I'm gonna have to find something else that I feel like really like cements it for me. I feel like you have a lot of good pointers that I can grasp onto, Blake. But maybe I selfishly still want it to be in Washington.
Yeah, you clearly did your due diligence. And I like a lot of the stuff. I'm particularly fond of the goat connections and the triple letter roadways. Those two stood out to me for sure.
Yeah, goat. That is extremely interesting, especially with the combination of milk, I would argue.
Yep.
And that Wisconsin being the cheese state, at least prominently known for that. Not really a lot of mentions of cheese, but connecting goat and milk with goat milk at the very end in chapter 22. I don't know. Interesting. The triangles are what does it for me.
Really?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's triangles in a triangular number pattern. That's crazy.
But it's not in a triangular number pattern.
Yeah, it's not actually like the...
It's almost identical.
It is pretty good.
I'm pushing back on that.
And the triangular numbers that are missing are 136. Page 136 shows an incomplete triangular number in the form of the Olympic rings. No.
No, not. I'm not. I can't.
All right. Anyway, happy to hear people's thoughts, whether they think I'm silly or not. I really liked some of that forward stuff, but I agree with you, Cody, that it's really a stretch and trying to fit things in. But if forward is on the Wisconsin flag, I feel like it was an opportunity to look for clues associated with that.
Definitely. No, I think everything you did was good and worth doing, and I like a lot of it. It's always tricky, and I do it myself all the time, where it's like you decide what you want to find.
Yep.
And then, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just the definition of confirmation bias, or
exactly
the route to confirmation bias. But
all right.
But yeah, it's tough if you have a theory and you want to follow up on it. It's like that's the only thing you can do. You just have to be extra wary of confirmation bias.
100%. Agreed. All right. Let's dive into the mailbag.
Mailbag. We've got mail.
Bryn,
Okay.
I will let you start mailbag. I'm going to step away, but I can still hear you.
Perfect. It seems like the change in the mailbag has been well received. People understood where we're coming from. So thank you for everybody on your flexibility and understanding with the mailbag shift. That being said, I did have a couple others that were remaining mailbags from the previous format. So I have a couple that I'm going to say from there, and then a couple from YouTube comments as well. So the first one is from Sierra Superfly. This is about hyphens. In chapter 1, the 120 carat sapphire, 120 carat is hyphenated. In chapter 4, the 96 carat Chivor emerald is not. It's already been discussed that the phrase beauty's bespoken treasures is weird because you normally say bespoke instead of bespoken. This leads me to wonder, is the letter count or word count or the chapter titles important? I've tried several different things with anagrams, numbers, etc. This is not my forte. I'm better with wordplay. So I liked this example of like one chapter title using the hyphen, the other one not. because I feel pretty strongly that we need to be going back through and finding some information, some clues, digging deeper into these chapter titles, because it does seem like they're very intentional for a lot of the chapters in potentially some forced ways. So love any examples we can find of oddities within chapter titles itself. So it looks like Cody is currently confirming between chapter 4 and chapter 1.
Please hold.
So chapter 1 does have the hyphen between the number and caret. Chapter 4 should not. It's taking you a long time to find these chapters.
Because I'm looking at something else too. Yeah, so chapter 4 doesn't, chapter 1 does. But I'm also looking at the table of contents, because in the table of contents, which is where I actually started, neither have the hyphen. So the hyphen only appears in the full chapter 1. Is that because it's specifically there as part of a clue? Maybe. Is it because of just like a lack of editing? Also maybe. And that's what gets so frustrating. It's like we know there's so many confirmed little things that are not right that it's like so hard to get excited about spending a bunch of time like on something like the formatting of something. Right. Because it just doesn't seem like that like eye for detail was in there when he was putting the book together. So, but kind of like we were just talking about, it kind of feels like an exercise you still have to do, right? Because it's like it could be a clue.
Yeah,
it is very interesting. Would you say you're more or less inclined to think it's a clue because it's different in the table of contents? Do you think that's more evidence that it's just like another typo, not really thinking about it? Or do you think it's more evidence that it's deliberately placed there?
I would lean towards that it's a typo for not being consistent.
Yeah, remember that we also have the one that was pointed out in the mailbag many months ago. The 100 Gold Rings of Tu Yet Do Yet is the chapter title, but in the table of contents, it's the 100 Rings of Tu Yet Do Yet.
That's right. Great.
And maybe they're both clues.
Maybe.
That's what's so tough.
Are your pages upside down? Could be a clue.
Cool.
Okay, well, pages upside down kind of, it fits nicely into this next one. This is from Freudian Slip. They say, the last time I wrote in, I alluded to using certain passages as pointers that lead to how to interpret the AI images throughout the book. As we've now gotten to chapter 17, and since Cody likes the word grand so much, as do I, here's what I think may be an example. The image of the cherry tree obviously has writing in the bottom left-hand corner. There are two possible passages in the chapter that may be telling us how to use it. My favorite option, we flip the script as indicated on page 156. If you do it, it looks like thou, or thou, I guess, short for thousand. In other words, grand. Another possibility, the writing may be a bold-faced lie, as indicated on the same page as the image, page 153. You could certainly describe the writing as a bold typeface. Why it might be a lie, I haven't quite figured. A sad reality, the possibility that it's just AI slop as it tries to write a page number. But I think what I liked most about this was the idea of like literally turning the book upside down. And I want to just like take a whole pass through the book upside down, just changing the perspective, looking at everything from a different angle, and just seeing if like the pictures come to me in a different way. I think there is a lot of value in just physically looking at the book in a different way.
Yeah, Freudian
Changing
Slip.
The perspective.
Freudian Slip is the man. That's right on track with the pointer theme. I can't believe I hadn't thought of that before, but flip the script, meaning just like, I don't know, whenever I hear script, I always think of like a movie play script, but flip the script really literally means flip the handwriting over, right? The script. So I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Yep. I like it.
Like that a lot. Awesome. Okay.
Love it. Okay. The next few are from YouTube comments. So thank you for everybody for pivoting and giving us some nice comments to work with there. First one is from Ben Martin at B9W. I like the phonetic alphabet discussion. This was started due to seeing Alpha Metropolis. I would disregard all of the alternative phonetic alphabets that you brought up because none of these include alpha, which I thought was a very good point.
Good point. You need somebody to rein me in. Excellent. Excellent point. Okay.
Next, from Bull and Thread. I thought you guys would like that Bull and Thread left a comment.
Oh, sweet.
We talk about them like every show.
The AI conversation is one that I've been thinking about quite a bit. I hope to put out a bit more content on this soon.
Nice.
There are some great treasure hunt designers who have been working on how to AI proof their hunts. The most common approach is using clues that don't make sense without being boots on the ground and connecting the dots.
Perfect.
So there's hope. The treasure hunt community has hope.
Yeah, I was thinking about this more the other day too, and I was like, you could do like one afternoon treasure hunts where no electronics are allowed. Things like this, I think, are still possible. But super fascinated to hear what Bull and Thread comes up with in terms of options for a wider variety of things. That's great that he's working on this. Cody,
Next one.
Cody also gets to compliment Bull and Thread. Cody's also excited. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's your YouTube crush.
Yeah, it was declared your YouTube crush. Okay, the next one is from Eric Harshbarger. This also ties in. I've always wondered if the turning square line in Joy's Serenade might be a reference to the Erno Rubik quote at the beginning of one of the chapters.
Nice.
When solving a Rubik's Cube, one is definitely turning squares.
Yeah.
So I know this has been a connection that's been made before, but I definitely wanted to bring that up again because it was a great reminder to me after talking about the turning square last week. That does just fit so perfectly with that Rubik quote.
Yeah, that certainly seems like an Occam's razor approach. That would fit very nicely. Good reminder. Thank you for bringing that up.
The last mailbag that I have today is the most important. This is from Ronald Alice. The coincidence of the day made me laugh. I love how there was no comment on Blake's dig at Bryn when he asked what the back nine score was, suggesting 65 strokes Cody mentioned was just the front nine score. And then Blake's face after saying all that. Ha ha ha. I would like to go on the record and say that I shot 42-40 for an 82.
Whoa.
That's all.
My bad. I just assumed.
Yeah. We had to clear that up. That's all. So everyone, thank you for again the pivot in the mailbag. I think it's going very well.
Right.
So much appreciated.
And just a reminder, we will cover the Wasson test results next week because we have forgotten the last 2 weeks, and I apologize because people did respond appropriately to that choosing the card question. So we will highlight those next week. I apologize. Right. We are going to skip Discord Detectives today because we're already running long. So, and that was going to be a long segment. So we'll cover it next episode. So
I'm happy to hear. After that race this morning, I'm like starting to.
Yep. All right.
Starting to lose it.
So let's skip ahead to coincidence of the day.
Oh, we're doing that still? Okay.
Yes.
All right. It's super quick. So introduce me. Say Cody, you have coincidence of the day.
Cody, you have coincidence of the day.
All right. Thanks, Blake. I was doing some
Dork.
I was doing some research into Sanskrit for obvious reasons. JCB's got the tattoo. Sanskrit tattoo feels like it's got to be important. Anytime I see like weird little symbols, I'm always like, oh, is it a Sanskrit thing? Feels like the most like Occam's razor, I guess, if you will. Because JCB obviously has some sort of connection to Sanskrit. So, doing that research, I came across an article that was all about Sanskrit and details of it, yada, yada, yada. And then I came across this little excerpt from that article that got my heart racing a little bit. That said, Sanskrit. Oh, one sec. I got to play how to pronounce this word in my ear real quick. Phonemes. Sanskrit has more phonemes than the 26 letters of the Roman script can represent. So its accurate transliteration usually relies on the use of diacritics, little markings found above and underneath the Roman letters.
Oh.
So I read that, and then I thought about our antler that Bryn doesn't like antler, but all of our letters with underlines and overlines. And I got so excited thinking, oh my gosh, what if when you take like Sanskrit and transliteration it to the Roman alphabet?
Yes.
With those extra that they're using lines above and below to indicate different things. I could spell a Sanskrit translation word. Didn't work out, but I was so excited for like a minute. So I'm gonna call that a coincidence of the day. But yeah, when I read that, little markings found above and underneath the Roman letters. Ooh.
That's a great thought. Great thought.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that it didn't pan out. Okay. Well, I might try it for myself just to make sure, but that's just too interesting. And it made me panic right now, so I just had to look at my phone to see if any of the symbols on the magnifying glass would match a Sanskrit, and no dice.
No dice.
Okay. Let's dive into the chapter coverage today. We're going to be talking about the postscript and the acknowledgements section. So why don't we start with the postscript, which does not have any clues in it by design. But was there any key information you wanted to take away from the postscript? Bryn, why don't we start with you?
The biggest one for me, whoa, sorry, I just made my screen full screen. The biggest one for me was the line, "It will be impossible to find any of the 5 treasure boxes if there's a blanket of snow covering the ground." So to me, that kind of alludes to all the boxes. Why are you guys pointing at me?
Pointing at Matthew Hobbies.
I was going to say the same thing. I literally wrote in my notes to call out Matthew Hobbies about his tree theory with that line.
It really seems like he's just telling us that these are all on the ground.
Yeah, that would be one translation that I liked. Yeah, that's a great point. Great point.
Is that it for your macroscopic things?
Yes.
Okay. I have 3 macroscopic notes.
Okay.
1, you said let's do postscript first. All of my notes are jumbled. So
okay, no problem.
I just did it all together.
That's fine.
I'm sorry. 2, I wanted to call out, I feel like the community is doing a great job of, JCB says in the safety chapter, I keep calling it the safety chapter, but he says, hey, if you hear your friend getting a little too excited about a solve and wanted to like ignore the safety rules, remind him of that. And I've seen like a lot of posts from people actually like self-checking themselves mostly, where they're like, hey, I had this solve, I really loved it, I went out there and it's just like, it's clearly too dangerous, he wouldn't have hit it here. Mm-hmm. So I really like seeing that. It makes me feel good. I'm like a super cautious person and anxious about everything, so I don't want anybody to get hurt. And I'm excited. I'm just happy to see that like people are like either responding to theories saying, hey, this seems too dangerous to an area, or like self-checking themselves and be like, hey, I'm very invested in this spot, but I had to say no because it was too dangerous. So let's keep that up because yeah, it's so easy to get overexcited, but we know he's not going to hide it anywhere dangerous. And then the last thing I'll say is in this chapter, and now I'm not sure which one I was referencing, if it was the postscript or the acknowledgements. I think it was more the acknowledgements. I feel like there's a million like treasure hunting tropes and like word choice and language that he uses to like describe his thankfulness or appreciation to everyone. And it's kind of a cart and horse situation. It's like, is he saying this because it's like a pointer or something we should be paying attention to? Or is it like, hey, I wrote this treasure book, so now I'm going to like use these treasury words to thank everybody.
Interesting.
So I feel like I could list 100 different things, but I feel like most of them are probably just like, you know, thank you, John Doe. You're the X at the end of my map. That kind of thing. So it's like,
let's save it for the acknowledgements before we get into it.
all right, that's all of my big picture stuff.
All right. The section in the postscript about no subterfuge, no double meanings, no misdirection, no innuendos, no subtext, no clues, no code. Those are all things he's saying are not in the postscript. So does that mean this is a little library of things that we should be looking for as clues in the rest of the book? Is this the laundry list of things that he's using, all of these different types of clues that we should be looking for in the book? The little recipe book for us.
I think I was more on board with this the first read through of thinking like, okay, well, maybe these are things we should be looking for. And the second pass through, just within the context of like him just trying to cover all the bases of like just be safe, I kind of think this is him trying to say every type of way you could hide something in text. He's just like giving a laundry list here to just say like, please don't try to make anything here into something that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
I think is the more the direction I'm going with it now. That being said, it is kind of a nice reminder of like, these are the different types of things we can be looking for in general, because they're obviously top of mind if he's writing a treasure hunting book and then calling them out here.
Yeah, I think I agree with you a bit more, Bryn. That it's more just like a list of synonyms, I would say, than maybe a recipe book, but I'm definitely keeping it in mind as something to come back to reference, but I think I'm more in your camp as well. What any thoughts on that?
I agree. I think I would guess it's just a lot of emphasis. And this chapter as a whole, or postscript, I guess, as a whole, it's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can just take literally out of here, right? Like, within 3 miles, don't have to get on a boat. That's all stuff that you can like actually factually check your potential solve location, be like, does it meet these criteria or not? Yeah, as for the no misdirection, no innuendos, no subtext, I do think it's probably more of just like an emphasis kind of thing, just to make sure people are getting the picture.
Yep. Bryn, do you have another one?
I don't for the postscript.
I don't either.
Okay. So I cheated and I used those quotes between the postscript and the acknowledgements. Is that okay?
Yeah. I also have one then as well.
Okay. Profound joy of the heart is like a magnet that indicates the path of life. So I really like that with the magnet and a compass direction.
Yes.
Clue.
That is the exact same note that I made. The only thing I would add is like, is that our invisible force?
Magnetism. How does it work? It's a classic Insane Clown Posse reference. Sorry. Okay. Bryn.
Okay, well, this also kind of on theme then. So we're going to the acknowledgements then.
Yes.
Thank you, Johanna, for helping me locate my North Star. So after the whatever we did last week, the introduction, how to read this book, when I talked about the idea of like these guiding lights, look at the beacon and the flare. We talked about the lighthouses. Like North Star is literally like the guiding light, which would come into play if we're then thinking of like cardinal north. Of course, then we could also have a discussion around magnetic north. So, anyways, it just felt very impactful that he's literally calling out North Star here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And to build on it, and I wish I had the right attribution. Hopefully, the person will let me know. But I feel like in a video recently, somebody has pointed out that you can kind of make a Big Dipper pattern in some of those stars in the chapter with the boy looking up at the stars, because the North Star would be pointed to by the Big Dipper. And it's like you can kind of locate which of those stars would be the North Star if you can identify the Big Dipper in that picture. And I really apologize. I don't know who to attribute that to, but I will try to find out before next week. Cody, you have one, or are you looking at that picture?
I have one. Yeah. And you guys probably want to talk about it too. I would guess it's probably one of like the more interesting or talked about things in this chapter is the names of the researchers.
Yeah.
So I got excited about something on this that also ended up being AI slop.
Oh,
I was doing a bunch of AI assisted research to figure out like, oh man, could that be some sort of clue? Because they're just such unique names, right? And the one thing that I got connected with and like halfway convinced of is that there was some sort of connection to a nautical map, which lists like different time zones, but uses like this lettering system of A through Z, or I think, which one is it? Like O or N is 0. And then it goes like A, B, C, D, E, F, G this way and backwards the other way. Anyway, it is an interesting way of like connecting specific letters to specific portions of the United States. So long story short, nautical time zone map or nautical time zone map. Interesting, but not connected in any way, I think, to the names of the researchers. But the names of the researchers, I still think I spent a bunch of time looking into that because I really wanted I wanted something good to present this episode that had to do with the names of the researchers. So I spent way too much time on that and just never came up with anything. Also wanted to connect it to something to do with Hercules or like Herculean, because he says, thank you for your Herculean efforts. And it feels like it could be connected to like some sort of mythology there. And I kind of started pulling on that string, but it definitely got to the point of like too much additional research and too into the woods and too many like leaps in logic, at least with what I was coming up with. So I don't know. Do you guys have anything better for the researcher names?
Honestly, I think I'm in the camp at this point of thinking that they're just probably their names. Like they're all very unique names, but like, is he really going to make up names here and not then acknowledge the real researchers? If there are real researchers, like I know that's a whole nother thing, but I kind of think it might just be real names.
Yeah, and if I really step back and think about it, I think I'm 60-40 on that as well.
Blake's shaking his head.
Well, 60% that they're real researchers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably about my assessment as well. I think the names are fake still. I don't think if they are real researchers, which is questionable, I think the names are made up. so that you couldn't track down who they are. Because JCB wouldn't want people reaching out to those researchers to ask questions.
Because you think of all the people mentioned, those would be the most likely questioned.
Yep. Because they actually had a part in researching the different treasures, and then you would, potentially be able to ask them, like, you wrote a draft of the research. Did Jon add additional things that you didn't research? Did he omit things that you thought were critical? Like, you just kind of open up a can of worms. I think that he would want to protect the identities of those people. That's my thought.
That's a good point.
And yeah. Anyway, Zach also did some research on this, and he said, I can't remember the exact quote. He said, Thaddeus is sad that you don't think he's a real person. So I just have a quick note from Zach here. He said, I was looking into the meanings of the names, but I didn't get very far. I'm guessing you already know a lot about this, but just in case. I didn't redo any of this research this time. I just ran out of time. I apologize. Elenia means torch, associated with Mother Alexandria. Rose Marie is dew of the sea, EEW, dew of the sea, associated with memory and Ophelia from Hamlet. Thaddeus means courageous heart and is one of the 12 disciples. Valeria, quote unquote, valor, makes me think of Valkyries. But I don't know. Zoe, life, associated with Percy Jackson, question mark. So he was able to find some connections, but trying to make a theme, and I agree with you, Bryn, like the Herculean part of that makes you feel like you should be able to connect that. But it seems like they're pretty disparate names. They don't all have a singular theme that I've been able to find. So I don't know what to make of that. Happy to hear other theories on this from the audience.
I also wanted to talk just for a second about, let's assume that either he had real researchers and these are their names, or he had real researchers and used fake names. Either way, that he had real researchers doing research for this book. Mm-hmm. And it would be obviously history. It would be research on the history of the treasure items. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that seems obvious to me. So does that, if you assume that that's the case, does that change anything about how you kind of dissect the book looking for clues? I mean, I guess it's tough because even if there's like a big page of facts and you think, oh, this is probably something you got directly from the researchers, he could still just as easily insert a clue into that somewhere as he could in his own writing. So
true.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But just something I was thinking about as I was trying to decide if I believe that these are real researchers or not.
Right. So argument that they're fake is, why did he specifically state there was 5 researchers? We already have this 5 theme, I would argue. So is it just convenient that he had 5 researchers? That's a suspicious factoid. The reason that they would be real, argument 4, is that in his interviews early on when releasing the book, he would mention that he hired 5 researchers to help him research these artifacts that he had. And if that were a clue, I don't think he would be mentioning that specifically in his interviews for whatever reason. In that he wouldn't be wanting to give away information in interviews that could be a clue, even though it's in the book specifically written. That's an argument for real, I would say, is that he's mentioned it several times in some of these mainstream interviews. I have one more argument against, but I forget what it is.
Against them being real researchers?
Yeah.
My argument against would be, I don't feel like you would need to hire 5 researchers and the cost of 5 researchers, because most of the facts in this book, I feel like you can verify on Wikipedia. And he already knows how to use AI.
Yeah, and he literally lifted a lot of facts just from like the auction listings and things like that. But certainly like the Too Yet New Yet chapter is like pretty heavily researched, talking about the Khmer and other empires. So I could see that. The argument against them being real is when he says something about the treasures being the co-authors of this book. So the treasures being the co-authors of the book instead of his research assistants being the co-authors of this book is a little bit suspect.
So does that mean that these are the 5 names of the 5 treasures?
I don't know. What's the dew of the sea? I mean, the torch, nice connection to the Olympics, right?
But are you looking for the past and future box? Oh, you mean the Thaddeus box?
So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. It's one of the big mysteries.
One of his more recent interviews too, when he had the bookshelf behind him, wasn't he like, "Oh, they're books from that my researchers used"?
Did he say that? I don't remember.
I thought so. I thought it was something along those lines.
Cody, do we want to switch up topics?
Yeah. So the next one I've got is just and I think this one's going to fall under the dashes in the title names category of just like a JCB did it because he did it, even though it's inconsistent kind of thing. And that is the use of first names versus first and last names in the acknowledgements. Like he'll say, just looking at it here, Jamie Biver. He'll say Rob Levinsky. He'll say Alan Adewati and Nicholas Hugo. But then he'll say Seth, Angie, and Lauren, even though he also said their last names in the book. So it's not like he's purposely withholding their last names out of the book. So why did he choose some to do first and last and some just first? And again, I think the answer to that is he just wrote it how he wanted to write it, and that's how it ended up. But it is an inconsistency that I noted.
That's a good point. Really good point. Yeah, there's some unknown names in this acknowledgements section and some known names. So we have the researchers, which I will argue are unknown, and I argue that they're probably fake names. We have the photographer, which is Jamie Biver. We have Seth, Angie, and Lauren. So the artists. They're all the artists. Rob Levinsky, who I put as the mineral man in my list. Alan Adewati, Nicholas Hugo. So those are the antiquities experts. And then we have Susan Sezgi, who was an illustrator, but is also now the managing director of Marble Press, which is JCB's publishing company. I'm wondering if she helped JCB with his drawings. Something that this made me curious about. So thank you, Susan Sezgi, for your encouragement. Thank you for pushing me to think bigger. Thank you for helping me avoid missing crucial deadlines. But most importantly, thank you for being such a good publisher and friend. So that acknowledgement certainly sounds like a publishing type thing. But I'm just curious if she gave him some drawing lessons or something. Just as a thought.
Yeah, it's a really interesting connection.
And then, we have Brian and Bryce for your poignant feedback. So I have no idea what their roles were. And then we have Johanna, which we also have no idea what the role was there. And then Don, the infamous Don, the editor, our arch nemesis. And then we have Richard, who was the graphic designer for the book. We have the Baker and Taylor publishers. We have his parents. And then we have thank you, Zach, for your encouragement. So we don't know who Zach is. And then Lee Elaine and Kimberly D for showing me how much ground one searcher can cover in a single day. So I'm assuming some sort of search partners for the Forrest Fen hunt, maybe? Still a little bit of an unknown.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay. And then his kids and his wife. So 3 kind of sections of unknowns, I'd argue. The Zach. And I don't think it's our Zach, the writer of Yar, there be treasure inside.
I was trying to find a way to make the same joke.
Sorry. I stole all your jokes this episode, Cody. I apologize. And then Brian and Bryce and Johanna. Like, are any of those clues? Probably not. I'd say Johanna being the most suspect because of the North Star that you pointed out, Bryn.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. My ramble. Sorry. Bryn.
How about your hand helped steer the ship so that it did not run aground? Your guidance gave me the surety to mark a path and challenge me to take this vessel further than I could have without you. So of course I love the hand theme. But then also this idea of like ship navigation, or we're also thinking through like compass and angles and degrees. So yeah, just this idea of guidance. I've been really liking guidance the last couple of weeks, alongside these other 2 themes.
Yep. Very suspect. Cody.
This one's for Bryn because I know she's got the half. Always looking at the half. So I thought that I hope I one day become half the parent you both are to me.
Nice. Nice. I'll do the other obvious one about his kids. Your enthusiasm for life lifts me up on wings.
Yep.
So we certainly like the butterfly idea.
The wing earrings.
Question Angie Murray about the wing earrings and how that design process happened. I don't think there's strong evidence that he influenced the wings. We're not sure. But yeah, certainly something about flight wings, butterfly wings, a bee on a pistol. Have not made a strong connection of what that means yet.
The other parts of that line about his kids, he says, it invigorates me. Your glowing faces lit a path for all this to be possible. So that is another instance of like a literal guiding light. Glowing faces lit a path.
Blue laser beams. What does it all mean? Cody.
This is my last one. Thank you, Richard, for making this book so damn attractive. We talked, I think last episode, maybe the episode before that, about how like he's a very G-rated, PG-rated writer. So when he throws a random, there's like 4 or 5 times in the whole book that he drops the little PG plus.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if it's drawing our attention for a reason.
Yeah, I don't have any more. Bryn.
Yeah, I got 2 more. So I love you with all my heart was the very last line about his wife. And I know even when you're reading some of those quotes earlier, Blake, there's instances of wholehearted in the chapter, half-hearted. And that just seems really interesting when we have the picture of the heart in the chapter as well. Nice. And it just kind of seems like there's some heart and blood connections throughout. Then the last one I will say was, I knew I hit the lottery when you accepted this project, because I've kind of had this little subcategory of like odds and statistics, I guess. Like,
nice.
What are the odds and rolling the dice? And I think it was maybe in the Washington chapter where all that was kind of coming up as a little theme.
Mm-hmm.
So if that ties into lottery, who knows?
Nice. I like that a lot.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right. That is a Postscript and Acknowledgements review with nuggets. Thanks, everybody. Any parting thoughts, or should we log off? Right.
I'm ready to log off. I'm hot and sweaty.
Yep.
I'm very tired.
Warm
I'm
up
sorry
here.
for. I really lost a lot of steam in the second half of the episode.
Put you to sleep with my Wisconsin slides. I apologize.
No, we're good.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Searching for clues.